Would we like to present a video first?
Expert on voice control?
Yes.
Which one? HD experts or HD?
Your Honor, objection. I don't feel like the evidence that was shown has anything to do with the case that the shooting of shooting of Mike Brown and the attack of Gary Wilson.
You're about to explain the video.
I don't.
Are you prepared to explain
Yeah.
the
Yes.
evidence? I'll overrule the objection at this time to allow the defense to explain these evidence.
Okay, so in this video, as you can clearly see, two African American males are entering a convenience store in Ferguson, Missouri. The first male that walks in goes straight for the cashier. The clerk is standing behind the counter. The big guy with the red hat, Paul, is reaching over, and you can see that he grabs stuff, hands it to his other friend. The clerk and him have a conversation. He proceeds to walk out with his friend. As he walks out, the clerk walks out from his cashier stand, and he walks around, and he attempts to stop the robbery, and he gets shoved into the rack behind him, and he attempts again to fall behind him. The guy with the red hat turns around, walks towards him, intimidating him, and he walks off back into the store. The relevance of this case is, as you guys objected, the relevance of this case is that these two males that walked into this convenience store are on the same street as the shooting, about a 2-minute walk. Also, they fit these men fit the exact profile of Mike Brown and Dorian Johnson, who was also walking on the street with him. And Dorian Johnson actually testified that they did go into the convenience store and that Mike Brown did take a box of cigars.
Excuse me,
Yes.
we have to wrap up.
Okay, so the defense calls Mike Patel, the clerk at the store, to stand.
Is this? Yes.
Your Honor, I still object regarding this relative because what does that have to do with Gary Wilson and his
What does this have to do with Darren Wilson shooting Mike Brown?
and self-defense?
Okay. Sustained.
This incident,
Defense, please explain.
okay, this incident occurred a phone call, and somebody in the store, while the struggle was going on in the front, an anonymous witness called 911, reported a robbery, strong-arm robbery. 5 minutes later, these two males were out on the street, and that information was released to all the police in the Ferguson area as a call for backup and a call for the search of the two suspects. Not only that, but as you can see, the guy with the red hat is aggressive, and he is paranoid, and he is much bigger than the clerk, but by asserting his dominance, he is threatening the clerk, and it asserts that this guy is not very friendly, and nonetheless, these two walked out onto the street about 5 minutes later, exactly as Jeremy was. And we put the profile, and this proves that this dispatch was released, and that information of these two sitting suspects, they fit the profile, they're carrying these cigars right after, and all the police in the area.
Thank you. Well, you have an opportunity to cross-examine as well this piece of evidence. Would you like to take that opportunity now?
I would like to say that you mentioned that, okay, maybe Michael Brown did shoplift, but with what you're saying, are you justifying that shoplifting, the punishment should be death? What you're saying is his punishment should be getting killed if he did shoplift. But how does shoplifting have anything to do with Michael Brown being murdered by a police officer? Is that his punishment? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that what the law punished him for?
That is not what we're trying to say. It is, death is not.
Why would you bring it up?
Hold on now. All the good questions. Please ask. This opportunity to redirect.
And that was not a rhetorical question. I will be brief. Opportunity. So that is not at all the point of this evidence. As you will see, we have a witness. We have a witness that goes along with the video that we took in order to be a person or to be a witness, that you can see the connection of the events. We're not at all trying to say that because he was robbing the store, she deserves to be shot. That's not at all what we're trying to say. What we're trying to say is that due to this robbery event, obviously Michael Brown, he knew he knew that this man, this clerk, had an exact visual, he could have identified him, and so he prepared what was caused him to exit into the street, and it was put by Mr. Wilson, who was not at all aggressive, he literally was asked him to please search, move to the sidewalk in the middle of the road. So the reason that he acts so aggressively towards Mr. Wilson, and Mr. Brown was paranoid, he was in a fear-induced state, and that's why he acted so violently towards Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson was attacked.
Okay. Thank you.
That's what I'm saying.
I might have stepped into it early. I saw that as one piece of evidence, and then you're saying you have a witness to link it. So, however, procedurally, we're going to work this. We're going to work this now. Would you now, defense, like to present your second witness or piece of evidence?
The defense called the clerk at the store to do the scam.
Please state your name and your involvement.
My name is Mike Patel, and I was a clerk at the convenience store that was robbed on August 9th, right before the shooting.
Can you tell us what happened that morning?
Of course. I had a few customers in the store looking at items while I was behind the counter. A man who was rather large walked in with his hands behind his back, and before I knew it, he reached over the counter and stole a pack of cigars, roughly around $50 worth. He was with a friend of his, a smaller man, and as he proceeded to walk out of my store, I put my hands out to shield him from walking out the door, and I tried to close the door. But he forcibly pushed me into the display rack, as we saw in the video.
And then what happened?
I was kind of scared, but I tried to intervene and I attempted to block him as he exited to keep him from leaving the store. He extended his arm like this, and he pushed me out of the way. I'm much smaller than him, so it didn't take much for him to shove me out of his way. His friend exited first, and he walked back towards me to push me on, lifting his shoulders back and puffing his chest out threateningly, as if to deter me from pursuing him again.
And then what did you do?
I backed out in fear, what could I have done? He was bigger than me and I was smaller. I tried to stop him, to talk, and he put his hands on me and pushed me back.
And what happened after your physical altercation?
I walked outside to get one last look at both of them, and then came back to find that one of my customers had gratefully called 911 and reported a strong arm problem.
You say you went out to get a good description of them. Can you describe the man that robbed you and shoved you?
Yeah, he was wearing a white shirt with yellow khaki shorts. He was exceptionally tall with a broad shoulder and big arms. He was built strong and he looked as if he weighed a hefty amount.
Based on your description, do you believe this is an accurate image of the man that approached you?
Yes, that is correct. I do believe that that is the man that robbed me and pushed me.
You brought up the young man accompanying Mr. Brown, now identified as Mr. Jordan Johnson. What was Johnson doing during the confrontation?
He was just standing behind Brown, waiting for him. He didn't cause me any damage, but he didn't do much to help or stop my Brown. I believe that he was a good friend of Brown. He never stopped me, even when his actions were clearly illegal and dangerous to both myself and our community.
And how did this robbery affect you?
Look, I know all my customers by name. My store is a very welcoming place and we do no harm to them. The fact that a young man would enter my store with the intent to steal from me, to hurt my livelihood, to possibly cause me injury over a few cigars, it hurts. These were not items necessary to sustain his life. I get that. These were just something for him to smoke, but this door is all I have, and to see it threatened in any manner is terrifying.
Prosecution?
I would like to point out that the defense stated that Michael Brown was paranoid after he sold cigars. If he was paranoid, why would he still be in the middle of the road, where he would be completely visible, blocking traffic, where he would cause a lot of attention to himself? If he was paranoid, wouldn't he reasonably run somewhere to hide or hide behind somewhere for maybe a few hours, or But he also stated that I'm good.
The defense would like to point out that they did not have a vehicle, and how would the two suspects get anywhere? They have to walk. That street is right next to the convenience store.